All right. Are we ready to rock?
Let's rocking, man.
Gentlemen, everyone good?
Yeah, let's get it.
All right.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 5 on 5 podcast presented to you by directmusicservice.com. 5 on 5 is the promo code FIVEON will save you 30% off your first month subscription. There's lots of good edits, remixes over there. I tell you guys every week, you already know what to do.
There's Flosstradamus remixes on there.
Yes. and some originals too.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. But that's just going to spoil our guest. Let's get into it. I'm one of your hosts, Phenom. Down the street from me, Nick Lopez. Down the street from him, Jupiter Williams. And our very special guest today, I can't say enough good things about this dude. I've known him forever. We have so much to talk about today. One of the pioneers of the festival trap movement. I would say there's a short list of a couple people. It's RL Grime, it's Bauer, and it's our guest today. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Flosstradamus.
What up?
Curt,
What
how
up?
you doing, brother?
I'm vibing. How y'all doing?
Man, we're doing good, man. He's
Got my
holding up that
Topo
Topo.
Chico.
Love it.
Yeah,
Got the
Yes,
Topo.
Topo boys in the house.
Yeah.
I'm on this, the Celsius gang.
Turn up.
Sell
Yeah.
out.
Sheesh.
Yeah,
yeah,
Celsius
Actually,
gives you a little.
Topo sold out.
Yeah.
They sold out. Because they sold it to Coca-Cola.
The funny
everyone
thing is,
does.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge Topo fan. I've been rocking Topo for over a decade. Back when you had the painted labels.
Yep.
I'm actually sponsored by them. They hooked me up, but they're also from Chicago too. Like their distribution is from Chicago, but they didn't sell out because the crazy shit is that Coca-Cola, when Coca-Cola first came out, the water that was inside of the very first Coca-Colas back in like the 20s was made with Topo Chico. So it started from the Topo Chico Springs, and then it's full circle now, and Coca-Cola owns them now.
See,
But the cool thing is that it gets them distributed everywhere now, so I can get them all over the world.
true.
This is fantastic.
See, you need to let everybody in Austin, Texas know about that, because Austin has like a strict like boycott on Topo.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They're they do like 1877 now and like some other local stuff now.
Anything but Topo Chico.
Anything but Topo.
Why? Because of the Coca-Cola thing?
Mm-hmm.
But they don't
Yeah.
like Coke?
They don't like
In
Coca-Cola.
Texas? That's
They're
weird.
mad about that. Yeah. No,
That's so
Austin.
odd.
It's Austin.
Oh,
Just
Austin.
It's Austin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
That's so odd.
Austin
That's
doesn't
a
have rideshare either, right?
Austin has rideshare.
Okay, before they didn't. So
Oh,
last
they
time I
didn't?
played down in Austin, I played at this spot called Summit, and these dudes got in a fist fight outside for a cab. That's how bad it was. Like
I love
War of
Summit.
the Worlds down there.
I love Summit.
Oh,
That's crazy.
fucking shit show. But
Just right into some corporate food. I love it.
yeah, just off the rip. Curt, what we do here every week, we start off with a little battle between two artists. We're gonna go 5 rounds real quick. This is just for you. It's a this or a that. You're going to know both of the artists today. It's not going to get too grisly. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we had A-Track. He had to battle between Chromeo and Duck Sauce. So it got a little weird for him. It kind
What's
of
the battle? You have to choose between the two? Is that what
Well,
it is?
yeah, you're gonna choose it's 5 songs, 5
Okay.
rounds. So today's battle, who you have some ties with, and we'll get into that after this, De La Soul versus Naughty by Nature.
So am I just picking which one I like more? Is that what it is?
Well, I'm gonna give you 5 songs from each, and
Okay,
you're gonna go
okay.
either way. Starting with round 1, De La Soul, I Know, or Naughty by Nature, Hip Hop Hooray.
Hip Hop Array.
Round 2, Rock Cocaine Flow featuring MF Doom, or Feel Me Flow from Naughty by Nature.
Oh my goodness. Feel Me Flow.
Okay. Round 3 is The Magic Number, or OPP.
Whew, I'm gonna go with the De La on that just cause. Yeah, I'm gonna go with 3 is a magic number.
Okay. Round 4, Me, Myself, and I, or Jamboree.
Whew.
Mm.
Me, myself, and I. Let's go.
Okay. Round 5, Stakes is High, or Craziest from Naughty by Nature.
Stakes is high.
Okay. Easy enough. Easy
Yo,
enough.
that was
That's
a nice
it.
little mashup right there, man.
That's
a really good
That's a
matchup.
breeze. Well, the reason why I said it is because Curt has some ties with the De La Soul.
Yes.
You guys did Are You In?
Yeah, we did.
De La.
Yeah. It was like a whole. It was a vinyl that we did with Nike and De La Soul, and we made made a bunch of beats, made a mixtape to put out this whole thing. Nike had this thing called the Are You In series, where it was like I think A-Track did one. We did one. A bunch of people did them, but we did the one with De La. It was like a super low key thing that no one knows we did, and it's dope.
It's funny that you said that because it's going in full circle now because A-Track spoke about his Nike production with that, and I just DJ'd the Portland Derby that was thrown by a guy by the name of David Ray, who was head of that Nike whole RUN
he put
installation.
That all together.
So yeah,
those records are not cheap, by the way. If you can find those on vinyl, it's very expensive.
I don't even have one. Seriously,
Oh,
I didn't even know that they made a vinyl of it until like someone tagged me in one recently, and I was like, "Wait,
great.
what? Like, I wish I had one."
Thanks.
Yeah, for real,
dude. There's so much I want to talk about today. Obviously, you and I met back in the glory days of Chicago, of Rehab at Debonair, back in all of that, which even is a little bit past what I would say was your glory days in Chicago. You spent like a decade out there, yeah?
Oh yeah. I spent from 2000 to 2010 in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to Get Out the Hood at Town Hall Pub. Let's go back to like the genesis of you guys being like, okay, you come from Kalamazoo to go to Columbia to study interactive media. We're going we're going to go down the rabbit hole today.
Let's go Nardwar. Let's get it. Bring it in. Let's go.
Yeah. And after that, so like 05 Floss starts, and then when does Get Out the Hood start?
Get Out the Hood started in 2005, September 2005.
Okay. Yeah. For those that don't know, explain what that was.
So the reason why it was called Get Out the Hood is because it was at a Grateful Dead bar in the middle of Boys Town, the gay neighborhood in Chicago. There's nothing but gay bars all over except this one weird little Grateful Dead bar. It's like that movie Up where there's like all the skyscrapers and there's just like one little house. It was like this little Grateful Dead bar amongst all these gay bars, but it was also in a neighborhood that not a lot of people went to at that time. At the era in 2005, people were always in Wicker Park. So a lot of the parties were either in lofts in Wicker Park or they were at like little small dive bar type situations in like Wicker Park, maybe Logan Square. So we just did this thing where it's like, yo, get out the hood, come over here. And we went to this because a lot of my friends were just bartending at this Grateful Dead bar and like, yeah, you guys can just throw an event here. And so we did. Another little fun fact, that same bar. So I think we did Wednesdays there. And then Thursdays was Hannibal Buress's night, and that's where he started. So Wednesday night was us, Thursday night was Hannibal Buress, and then that's kind of where we both like cut our teeth in that club, in that little teeny bar in Chicago, which is crazy.
It's fucking nuts. And it needs to be mentioned that Chicago had its own scene, because everybody's always like New York, LA with Dim Mak, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Chicago had a vibrant scene with Cool Kids, with Flosstradamus, with Kid Sister, with Hollywood Holt, with all of these major acts.
Yeah.
Was Mano around that time?
Yeah, Mano was in that too. Yeah, Mano was Holt's cousin. And
Yep.
Yeah, and so that's what it was. It was just all of us. We had like this little moped gang, and like we used to just kind of all do different things together. So we started Get Out the Hood initially, and then Cool Kids kind of came into that fold, and then Hollywood and Mano and all of them came into that, and then they all branched out and started doing their own things from there. Like Mano and Hollywood started doing this thing with Virgil Abloh downtown called, I always forget the name of this thing, but it was called like
Super Fun.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I don't know why it was like hashtag super fun, but that was their thing. Yeah. And so they started that downtown kind of like in the same era that we did. So it was like we were all kind of like intermingling and playing each other's parties at the time.
Yeah. It predates, it's just a little bit before blog era, because everything was Hype Machine like 06, 07, 08. And you guys actually played Coachella in what, 05 or 06?
Yeah, one of those two. I just saw the photos the other day. I was like going through my little memories because Coachella just happened. But yeah, we did. We played the main stage. We played the first act on the main stage at Coachella. We just like opened it up. Like there was a opening. So they put Flosstradamus Kid Sister on the main stage, 2005 I think it was 6, probably 06. It's crazy.
Looking back at that and the trajectory of your career, what was it like to hit that peak, like out of the gate? Because that's bizarre.
No, it was bizarre. I think it was just a favor for that. Like it didn't really jar me too much. Like, of course, it was amazing to play Coachella, but it was like we just were opening up. Like people were coming in. It was not even like this crazy thing. It wasn't like a big ego boost.
Yeah.
But it was a cool thing. It was like to me, it made it feel like people were like hearing what was going on in Chicago. We got flown out to California to play this thing. So like it was like what we were doing was the right thing. So we just kind of like it just reaffirmed what we were doing was right for me personally.
Same.
Yeah.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
all of those
yeah.
early shows, man. And we were playing vinyl, or we were probably playing Serato at the time. Or no, maybe at that era was vinyl. Either way, I just always remember those first like shows where there were big festivals and having to put my hand on the needle. And it was like seriously shaking. Like I can still, for real, like putting the needle down, like the nerves. That's how you know the anxiety's kicking in, is the shaking, trying to find the groove.
Yeah.
Luckily, I can just push a button right now. It's easier now. It's less anxiety.
And
point.
With EDM now, the button's already pushed early on, and then you come out and you're like, okay, now we can start. The intro's already happening, the lights, the visuals, everything.
Yeah, man.
But that was a big point for you guys in the branding and everything, is you wanted to do something that was more than just let's press the button, let's go out there, let's jump on the table, let's have our hands up. We're going to build a cult following similar to ICP, similar to Grateful Dead, a fucking movement. What was that initial sit down like?
Yeah. So, that kind of came later. That was when like the trap stuff happened. So like we were just like throwing a party in Chicago. Like we didn't really expect this to get big. And like the Coachella thing was one of those things that was like, damn, we're here. Like all of these moments were just like, what? Like we just were throwing a party in Boys Town in Chicago. Like we're like, just like some hipster friends. Like it was nothing. And then it just like all of these like things kept happening. That's even like the RUN opportunity came in, and Scion asked us to do a mixtape. And like all of these things kept affirming what we were doing was right, but we never really planned it out at that time. And so that happened to like 2009, 2010. And then we fell the fuck off. Like we were just like off, like never getting shows, nothing was happening. And that's when Josh and I kind of really got down in the studio and like really started making music. And then we were doing what we were doing on stage. So we were like, during our shows back in the day, the mashup era and stuff, we'd mix like actual like Lex Luger's drum songs, like Waka Flocka songs with like these EDM Tiesto songs. Like we'd go back and forth. It'd be like Sandstorm into Waka Flocka, back and forth. So when we had time off, we started doing that in the studio. It's like, all right, let's take the Lex Luger drums, put them over the Sandstorm synths. And that's kind of what the EDM trap stuff was. And then that's what you were asking is like, we had this moment, like things started popping off again, and was like, all right, what did we do right before and what didn't we do right before? And that was the main thing. It was like we didn't really like focus on a fan base before. We really didn't have branding going. We didn't have merch. And so every opportunity we got, we just like capitalized on it. It was like, let's go tenfold on this. Let's make hoodies. Let's make like we made stash lighters. We made all this crazy merch. We did all this crazy stuff in that moment. So like it was just more do the things that we didn't do before right, and then the things that we did right before, do them better.
You mentioned the Scion era, which is hilarious because they were throwing so much money at this, but I didn't see anyone buying a Scion.
We always come back to the Scion era. That's funny. That's funny.
No,
Nobody actually bought a Scion.
Everyone wore the socks, but no one bought a
the socks. I tried to buy some of those on eBay a while ago. They're like the most comfortable socks ever.
I think I have a buddy that had an XB back in the day.
And like had no idea about like the dance music scene they were pushing or anything like that. It's like,
they did that. They funded this whole era, that whole era. Like they were either like helping support parties, or they were helping support mixtapes, or like they were just doing so much for the scene. Like it was cool because that was like pre-internet, like I don't know, reposting and things like that. It was still early internet, and they were the ones exposing us. Like so many people know me because of that mixtape that we did for them. And I shouts out to Scion, rest in peace. Like they did it for us. It's crazy.
Before we get too far, our buddy Trey Smith from Twitter wanted to ask.
Shout out.
Yes, he wants to talk about the Lean With It remix, and he also wants to talk about the Juke, Jersey, Be More era before the trap stuff that took it somewhere different. He says there's probably a disgusting amount of gems that would be new territory for people that got hit during the original Dawn.
Yeah. Yeah. So what does he want to know about the juke era? What it like? What like?
Yeah, like so we're
Um,
pre-trap.
mhm.
Were you
Yeah.
guys doing like heavy juke, be more type stuff?
Yeah. Our first two EPs on Fool's Gold that were like full EPs were like they were trap influenced a little bit, but like kind of juke drum influenced. And it was all just like, yeah, just redoing a bunch of that DJ Nafitz style drum patterns that we heard in Chicago. Like again, like I said, combining like the trap music with the Sandstorm, like in Chicago on the radio, it never was not like a hip hop song mixed with like a juke song. Like they would go back and forth on the mix shows. And
Right.
so for us, that was just natural. So we were doing that in our DJ sets. And then when we started making music again, we were like combining the sounds of those. So like making like the Lean With It remix, like you said, was like the Lean With It, Rock With It. It's like a hip hop song, but then we just like juked it out, put juke drums over the top of it, and then made it a juke remix. So that's kind of what that was like us trying to figure out what we wanted to do. So like that's why that early stuff was more juke. It was kind of us segueing into more of the trap stuff. Like we tried the juke drums over the trap shit, and then we did the reverse later. We started doing the trap drums over like the EDM shit, and then that's kind of how it evolved. So it was like kind of like drum swapping was kind of how we figured out our sound, like in that whole era, just trying to put it all together.
Yeah, let me just put it this way, man. That during that era, that really confused the fuck out of me as a black kid, just loving hip hop and in Portland with a whole bunch of white people, and them telling me that, yo, this is trap. And at the time, I'm like, yo, trap.
The introduction
like
of trap was very confusing.
I was very, very confused until really
You're like,
until,
nuh-uh.
Yeah, really
Well,
until I broke down Original Dawn, like really like sat down and listened to it. I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it.
It took me a minute.
This is house music with the trap.
Yeah. Even Debo was calling it trap step for the longest time. And like, oh, here's trap step. It's like it was so new to everyone.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like if you were in Chicago at the time, you saw the writing on the wall and being like, oh, we're only going up to a certain BPM. Then we get into DJ Funk territory. We get into Gantman territory. We're getting into a different side, a different speed, all sorts of stuff. There was a different direction that was untapped. And I guarantee a lot of these synths and stuff that you were hearing, the EDM stuff, like Sandstorm and stuff, maybe not that exactly, but you're hearing it for the first time.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like hard style and all of that. And Curt, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure you guys went in a deep dive on hard style more than you ever expected, right?
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like you were saying, like some people are hearing the Sandstorm synths for the first time. The hardstyle dudes were hearing trap for the first time, the trap drums for the first time.
Yeah.
So when we started doing the thing where we were taking all the hardstyle synths and putting trap drums over them, the dudes in Amsterdam who grew up with no hip hop references, it like was pissing them off. They were like, the fuck is this? It sounds so whack. And like, or like, because to them it was like they wanted like the hardest, like, and then when like some swag goes over the top, they're like Dutch side doesn't have the swag to like understand what the trap drums are, and they're like, I don't get this, and so they were like thrown off.
A little too much stank on this.
Now,
Did
you find any backlash with that? I'm not so much saying backlash, but just like mad people confused, and you're just trying to like, hey, this is the wave that I'm on right now.
But it was 100% that. Yeah, it was 100% them being upset because they didn't understand it. And like I think it was like partially like a cultural not understanding. Like it just was like, it was so foreign to them.
Right.
And then the other reason that they were super pissed is because we didn't call those remixes. So like we have a song called Total Recall, which was, we sampled a song called Recalled to Life. And we could have like said Recalled to Life Flosstradamus remix, but we just called it Total Recall. So that pissed them off even more. But like, just like everything on the internet now, when people get pissed, it's actually better press than good press. So everybody was talking shit, posting us on blogs, reposting us, all of that. I think it probably did us better to like not call it a remix and cause the drama. So it was good. It was good. Like the drama really helped push it up even more then. So then it put us more in the spotlight. And then all of these hardstyle dudes, the ones that liked the sound, started making their own trap versions of stuff too. So like it like started to like influence their sound after that.
What was the psyche in not calling it a remix or not calling it an edit?
all of that was just like we didn't give a fuck, like for real, with all of that. Like there was no like intention behind it. It was like, like even a minute ago when you were saying like trap, like there was no genre at first. So we just we just titled it trap on the genre on SoundCloud. So we put like Recalled to Life or whatever. We put trap, and then it started getting blown up. So even these Dutch dudes didn't know what trap was. They didn't have a reference to like Southern trap.
Right.
They were just like, oh, this is called trap. And so then everyone started calling it that, especially all the people that didn't have the pre notion of what trap is, like the Southern trap. So that's why this stuff started being called trap. And same with the names of the tracks. None of this we expected to be big or anything. We just was like, we're fucking around putting it on SoundCloud. And like, that's why we called it Recalled to Life. That's what we called it all this. It wasn't, I don't know. We just didn't care. It wasn't, we didn't think of ourselves as big, small, anything. It was just like, throw it up on SoundCloud. And that was kind of like what SoundCloud was anyway in that era. It was like, you could just make up a genre, put it up, and it didn't matter. And there was so many people that would listen to it. And at the time it didn't matter. There were no laws. There's no laws on SoundCloud. So it just was like, whatever, just put it up.
And that's what I was going to ask when it became called trap. Was it intentional? But like you're saying, it wasn't. It was just, that's just what the genre you chose to click.
Because it was to us. It was trap.
It is.
It's
like it's like Southern trap on steroids. Like they just juke the fuck up.
That's why I appreciate the fact that you guys got Waka involved, because he was right there with Lex Luger in the formation of, you know, Southern trap music, and then you being the trap EDM man, and then you brought Waka as that voice.
Waka, Casino, Lil Jon, like like huge look for Casino, you know, like from free bands, like like to be in that domain and be like, okay, cool, Mosh Pit is your biggest song now. So you're like, what? Like, you know, like, and this is your fan base. They're all wearing neon. Like, like holy shit.
He embraced it. It was crazy. So he came into so he had a song called Diamonds Dripping Wet that I really liked back in the day. And he just was like a character. He just had like this like Afro man type energy, I guess, like when I first heard him. And we just asked him to come into the studio, and then we showed him what we were about. We showed him like videos of mosh pits and stuff. And then he was just like, whoa, those mosh pits. And like, he was all amped up. He just got like super hype, and he got in the booth and he recorded mosh pit with us. Like we like kind of worked on lyrics together with him, and then we made it happen. And then, like you said, that was like one of his biggest songs. It blew the fuck up. He came out with us to EDC, and like he started to see it live, and he was just like, he super embraced it. So then he tried to make a whole EDM album. And I don't know if he has, I have a song that he sent us called like Red Bull Give Me Wings. And it's like, I'll have to leak that shit sometime. It's so crazy, but it's just about him jumping in the crowd and he's turning up. And he tried to make some EDM stuff after that. But
that's awesome.
One of the best shows that I was on, because I toured with Riff Raff, and Waka showed up to the Pittsburgh Scranton show. And we put him out there, and we changed the whole set around with Riff, and we really made it a EDM trap set, and it was crazy. We had ET on the drums, and then we had some guys from Asking Alexandria, their bass player. He came and played too, and it was just
that's dope.
That was one of the best shows.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
That was the genesis of so much, and I feel like that window is closed now to blow up on SoundCloud.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's for dance music.
For dance music, because the selection guys, man.
Yeah, because that is kind of after, and it still kind of is a thing, because there's still people on SoundCloud discovering new music. But I think the Wild West era of SoundCloud, where you could literally just post whatever the fuck and it would stay there.
So
is gone. It's very much like controlled, and they have like paid platforms, like versions of it.
I think
tier versions, and
I think you're right. That's what like the Wild West, like you said. But I think the culture of what SoundCloud was originally just isn't what it is now. That's all it is. But there are still genres. There's like that hyper pop genre that's kind of popping off on it now, and like of course that whole SoundCloud rap era that was popping from it. Like these little like all these underground, like SoundCloud's a spot for the underground. Like they start to bubble, and then it gets into Spotify and all of that. But it isn't like it was before. Like you could just like invent a genre and put it up, and it was like so many people were on that platform. But Spotify's and Apple Music's and stuff kind of pulled people away from SoundCloud, and the real people that are on it now are like the real digger people that are looking for like cool music. But before it was like everybody was on it, like just like random sorority girls were on there before, and like they're like, I love Flume or whatever, and like
Yeah.
it's that isn't there as much as it used to be unless you're really like in the culture, the music culture.
Yeah.
It seems like too, with everything being super polished production wise, that we're finding less and less interesting music as well. Like it seems like it's kind of narrowing down. And I know, like, if you go through like tech house or any, you know, flip an R&B sample into house music, whatever, you can click through 500 of those and maybe find a couple that are, you know, like I would actually play us out or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, y'all are DJs. You've seen this for everything. Like this has always happened. Like every genre pops off, and then there's 1,000 ballet funk remix, and then that fades out, and then there's Baltimore club, and then there's juke, and then there's trap, and then there's now it's the
Jersey
tech house
club
thing.
remix.
Yeah, exactly. And like
you know, everything Jersey,
everything.
That's what it's gonna be, and so that's just what's happening right now. I think the next one will be that like Skrillex, like Brazilian, whatever. Like people are gonna start doing that now too. It's just like everyone is like, it's just gonna happen. That's what happens in this. Like,
yeah,
like,
that's true.
Like for what you just said, the tech house R&B thing, like Do It To It was that. It was like, oh wow, I have there's like 1 million R&B acapellas out there, and he put some tech house drums over it, and it's like, okay, anyone can do that. He just like did it in a cool way and was the first. But then everyone wants to repeat that, and like it just, you can't make another Do It To It because he did it in that one moment. So
Well, what you guys did too is you bridged the gap on the other side of things with indie too. You had Carolyn Polachek, you had the Matt and Kim remix, there was so much more than just we're doing dance music.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's all good. It's funny you said the Matt and Kim remix, because that was like one of the first remixes that we did official, and so Matt and Kim were like our friends. We used to party with them back in the day. I was in this band called Hyper Viper, and I played drums in that band. And our last show as Hyper Viper was at a loft in Wicker Park called what was it called? I don't know. It was like that dude Johnny Love's loft, but he had a loft there. The last show for Hyper Viper was the Matt and Kim opened up for Hyper Viper, and was the first show for Flosstradamus actually. So that show, I got off the drums. And then I went over and started DJing with Josh. And that was the first time we ever did like our first back-to-back. We're just like, let's just play in this loft. And it happened then. And then Hyper Viper finished, and we were still friends with Matt and Kim. Yeah. And then so over the years, Matt and Kim got big, Flosstradamus got big, and they were like, hey, can you remix our song? Yeah, yeah. And so they gave us stems to Yeah, Yeah. And I made like this weird, like, almost like a Where's Your Head At version of it. Like I was trying to like kind of emulate, I was learning how to produce at the time. So I did like kind of like a Where's Your Head At bass line. And then it's crazy because that song actually has a trap breakdown. Like halfway through it, I like put trap drums in. And this was in like 2006 or so. I was like putting trap into like Baltimore club. It was like kind of like the early workings of what Floss was going to be in this very first song that we did. So yeah,
very interesting.
That's like one of my favorite remixes. Actually, it was like one of the first ones we ever did, and it was like very like, it was like the concept of what Floss would be in the future in this one tune.
It still goes off, and it's fun. It has that house party energy. I think that's what's really missing nowadays. Is that broadness of what you guys did at that time. I remember, you know, I don't feel like a lot of people now. TikTok is embracing mashups and all of that. But really, in the beginning, it was you guys were playing everything, and I love the interview that you did forever ago. It said we'll put doo-wop drums under something and give you, you know, a 90s song if you want it with 70s underneath and all sorts of shit. What was the Autobot set? Was it that before Floss, or how did that happen?
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy because that you're asking about pre-Floss stuff, but that's true. That's what it always was. And you had mentioned Zebo earlier, and like, so back before Floss, I was doing all of that type of stuff too, like either mashup stuff. And even before that, like way back in like 2000, I was taking like jungle music, drum and bass music, and mixing it with hip hop. And so I was making this, like, I used to go to Flipside, or what was it? Flipside? No, it was, I went to Gramophone, and then Gramophone in Chicago, they had this bin. So all of the expensive records were up top, and I was broke. And so all the ones underneath were like 99 cents. So I was just like, let me try to find some cool shit. And in those 99-cent bins were like the Lil Jon records, like the it was not TDE, I don't know, it was like a
TVT.
TVT.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it wasn't Top Dog. So the TVT ones, they were like a fluorescent green like vinyl sleeve.
Yeah.
And a lot of those records were dope as fuck. They were like Lil Jon, their 3 6 Mafia, all of those, but they always had acapellas on it. So for me, I was like, damn, this is a 99-cent acapella. And I would get it and I would bring that into my studio and then sample those acapellas and put them over like drum and bass. And so that was doing the similar thing that I've always done with Floss, like take this genre that's so obscure, this UK jungle genre, and mix it with like Southern trap acapellas that I fucked with. And the crazy thing is both of those have the same energy. Lil Jon yelling over some drum and bass, like is so dope. It worked really well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've always been doing that. So yeah, the Autobot stuff pre-Floss was always that, just like mixing the two different things together, and whether that's indie rock and like hip hop drums or like drum and bass and whatever.
Yeah, there's a version of the simulation where you're just a drum and bass jungle DJ.
Oh my god!
You just go that route. And,
There's a version where I'm also a juggalo, I'm sure too.
What put you on hip hop at an early age?
Skate videos, 100% skate videos, 100%. Yeah. So growing up in the Midwest, I would get all these skate videos, and you said all the De La Soul things earlier, but a lot of those De La Soul original records were on like the 411 video magazines and things like that. It was like all of those were mixtapes full of all the dopest underground New York rap music. And so that was the main thing for me. I was like, who is this? Who is that? And then I would go to my local record store and find one of those artists, and then next to them I'd find more and more and more. And that's kind of what it was, but it was initially skate videos for sure.
Okay, so you started skate videos, that's a lot of boom bap, a lot of New York stuff.
Yeah.
What put you on Southern rap then?
Those cheap records were probably the main thing.
Records,
it was I would think that would be it. It was like, it had to have been. Like those were the first time I heard that stuff, and like I don't know, it definitely was like Lil Jon and like the 3 6 stuff. Like I don't know if I heard those from the vinyl first or if I heard them on the internet, but I think it was definitely from those record bins, like finding those records. That was it. Yeah.
Because it's around that time that those were like blowing up anyways, you know?
Yeah.
But now you're getting deep because you're finding like the promo records that just end up in the dollar bins. So you're finding like weird singles that didn't pop off.
Yeah. And the drums are always crazy for me, man. Like, I remember like even like getting like old like reggae vinyls like Ward 21. They had like they just always had the coolest like acapellas and like drums and stuff. It all just was like that early like made on a Korg Triton beats. Like they just sounded so unique to me, and unlike anything else I was used to, like away from the boom bap shit. It was like more synthesized drums and just like I don't know, the 808s were crazy too. Everything was just so much bigger, and I love stuff that has high energy and was big.
Yeah.
At that time, I'm not sure how it came about, and I want to hear a bit from you. Flossy effects was a thing. And I know these kids now, like the younger generation, maybe Travis and Nick, I'm not even sure if you guys know about this, but there was integrated effects in Serato because of Flosstradamus.
Yep.
Which effects?
So like the sampler, so the sampler, you can load your samples in and put air horns and drops and stuff like that. So Serato didn't have that in there initially. And so I was going to school for coding. So I went to school for like design and coding. So I made this little thing called Flossy Effects. There was a little sampler that sits below Serato, and it looks just like Serato. And it had all these different samples in it, and it would go out the 1/8 inch out of your computer. So while you're in the club, if you wanted air horns, if you wanted different drops, there's like a little sampler at the bottom of your screen. So it's pretty much what Serato ended up turning into their sampler feature.
Wow.
Which also put me in touch with Serato too. And so I've been helping them develop over the years too. Like I still do random tech things here and there. I'm actually like have an AI music company I'm dropping here soon too. So, but yeah, all started with Flossy Effects back in the day.
Wow, that is hilarious. That's sick. That's so rad.
It's out there somewhere. You can find it. It still works too. Someone sent it to me a couple days ago. Like he was like, "Yo, look what I found," and I loaded it up. It still works on an M1.
It's like for Scratch Live.
Yeah, it was like for Scratch Live, but it works outside of it. It's like a second, like it's a layer. Yeah, it's like something that goes on top of like Serato.
That's so rad.
That's so dope.
just to have the air horn. It's you know, everyone used the air horn because we didn't have it.
Yeah, you weren't thinking.
Right.
You know, and it was like, oh, and then somebody be like, "Oh, do you have Flossy effects?" And be like, "No, what's that?" And then
Yeah.
you'd be like, put them. It's like DJ AM mode. Like when
Uh-huh.
you found out about AM mode, you're like,
Yeah.
"I'm the coolest fucking DJ ever." You're
Yeah,
like,
if you got flossy effects and AM mode, you're
Yo, that's
Untouchable.
the, yep. That's the
untouchable.
Voltron right there. That's crazy.
Dude,
that's
you
so
mentioned
sick.
you mentioned AI, and I want to get into this discussion
do
just
it.
a little bit. You see all the music coming out right now, all the fake Drake, all the everything. What's your take
Yeah.
on that?
So yeah, what was it at the top of the year, like a little bit before the new year? I actually started a company. It's called Ruben. It's Ruben.audio for anyone that wants to check it out. And it's using a very similar technology to all of that. So it's the same thing. It's a voice-to-voice technology. Our algorithm is a little bit better than those. I'm just going to try to plug
Shout
that.
out.
But
Love that.
yeah, we're working with like a bunch of different record labels right now, and we're doing a lot of that. And so what my take on it is, that's cool. That's the Napster moment. The Drake thing is like the Napster moment of all of this. It was like,
Right.
it's the record labels are going to get pissed. They're going to try to put out the fires. They're going to try to like shut it down, just like they did with Napster. But the technology that we built is, we're the Spotify to that. We're the iTunes to that. We're actually working with the labels right now and how to integrate AI into their process. And what I look at, the way that we're doing this with a lot of these labels is, currently in songwriting, you have a producer, you have a songwriter, you have a mixing engineer, a mastering engineer, maybe a couple other people along the way. But what we're trying to do is add a technologist into that process. And what it is we're building tools to now, if you are a performer, like we're actually working with Ty Dolla $ign right now.
Shout out.
We trained his voice on a really, really good vocal training of his voice through like a Neve mic pre, and it sounds really, really clean. He can just be on the toilet taking a shit, doing a voice note, and then he can upload it into the system, and it'll be a Neve take of his vocals. It's instantly fingerprinted his vocals, so it's super good. He could also be working with a female songwriter, let's say, and she could be singing a top line that he likes. We can actually just put his vocal fingerprint over her, and now he has his voice cloned to match that. We're working with Major Lazer right now, and we're trying to make their song Lean On like into 10 different languages right now. So we made a vocal fingerprint of Mo's voice, and now we're making Lean On a global multilingual hit right now with that. So there's a lot of other cool things we can do with this technology. It's bigger than that Drake moment. The Drake moment is the Napster thing.
Right.
We're doing really cool shit with the tech.
Now
Sure.
you could do the Major Lazer remix with Ty Dolla $ign too, since you got his voice.
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
Switch
yeah,
that up. 'Cause,
yeah.
that remix is so fire.
Yeah, we could do it with anyone too. The main thing is we're trying to make it more of like make people's singles just global. So like if anyone has a new song that they're about to put out, it's only going to hit a small demographic that knows how to speak English. But if you put it in Mandarin, if you put it in Spanish and French and Hindi, like think about how much bigger that's going to be. So yeah, we're doing that with a bunch of people now too. And we have a couple other verticals in the company as well that we're doing that you guys will be seeing here soon.
Yo, are you in contact with Netflix?
Not with, go ahead.
Because with the dubs, right?
Yeah.
Because we watch what is it, Squid Game?
Yeah.
on
You
dub.
just had the brain epiphany that I just had. I was like, oh my God. I think I just got the genius of what you're making.
Yeah. So no, that's exactly what it is. Like it is similar to the dub thing, and that we're actually working with Pixar right now too.
Okay.
The not on Netflix necessarily, but with Pixar. And it's the thing is that with the dubs, like it's someone who kind of sounds like the person saying something in English or whatever, but now we can just take a vocal fingerprint of the actor, and even if there is an English speaking person, we can actually put the vocal fingerprint over that, so it actually feels more like the character. And then if you want to bring in deep fake technology on top of that, you could too. So they're actually saying it with English, like
Lips.
That's not our wheelhouse. We like work with other companies on that.
Right,
like,
right.
Our stuff is mainly doing this for the music industry. Is like really try to service the music industry.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. The idea of taking a song and like even just like you said, like changing the language, like that's
so huge.
That's such a like an old school thing too. Like I think like that's kind of like a 80s 90s approach to like pop music that like they used to do that I feel like has gotten away from the music industry. We just kind of accept music in the language that it's in. Whereas opposed to like if you get a mega hit, you're like, cool, we need to make it in Spanish, Chinese, fucking
and like you said,
the artist doesn't even need to learn the language. They could just
exactly.
You got you.
And it could be a hit for them too. So that's like if they're making music for to reach people, if that's their motivation, then it's going to reach a lot more people, which is going to be dope for them. If they're making music for money, it's going to make them so much more money. Like it's going to help the music industry in ways. So And like you said, it is like an old school way of thinking, but like a lot of the stuff I've been talking about this whole interview is just the way I look at life. It's like, why not take something that people have forgotten about and merge it with something new? Okay, cool. There's a new technology that's here, but wait, people forgot about doing this. So why not merge those two together and then make something new? Yes. And I do that with everything. Like even like the NFT stuff was a very similar thing I was doing too. Like it's just like, why not do these things? These things are existing in our culture always, but people forget about them when something new comes out and they're distracted. And it's like, no, take this old stuff, bring it into the future and like merge it with what we're doing now. And don't be afraid. And I think what happened with the Drake stuff, people are like, oh, that shit's whack. That shit's whack. That's what always happens. That's what happens in music too. I remember, I don't even know when like house music was coming out, people are like, oh, that shit's whack. That's whack. Like back in the day. And then we merged it with trap and they're like, oh, that shit's dope. It's like people are always talking shit. And when people are talking shit, that's when you look into it and dive into it and make something out of it. Is my views.
My only problem was that track was fire.
Which one?
It was too fire. That Drake and Weeknd.
Oh, yeah. Oh no,
it was a little too good.
It was a little too good.
Way too good, man.
My problem with it is I liked it too much.
It's true.
Yeah. That was Drake's problem too, I'm sure.
Yeah, like, of course. That's why they put it out. They put the fire out. They're like,
yeah. Chill on that.
That's so bad.
It's so dope.
No, man, that's and even to flipping the language to English for like, for example, Bad Bunny. When you can get all of these additional fans to be like, yo, I love the songs. I don't know what the fuck he's saying. I love the beat. I love this and that. Now you can look into it and you can garner that fan base. You could even help people start to speak another language, I think.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's cool. I that's way to take something that's so.
It's like Google Translator.
Everyone's looking at it wrong, though. From the
exactly, everybody's just looking at it wrong.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Totally wrong. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and it's like we're trying to provide a service. We're also on our end as well. Like that's our service side of the company, but we're actually almost like finished up with a full on usable. It's not a plugin, like, because you have to do all this outside of your DAW, but it's a full-on app you can use. Just like Flossy Effects was an app you can use in your process. We actually have an app for this too. So you'll be able to train your own model. So you can make your own Drake model, but you can also train like your friend. Let's say your friend's like a good rapper, a singer, or whatever. You could have them, and then you could just sit there on your iPhone and make like vocal takes or do DJ drops and things like that with just using this other voice model. So if you think about it, it's like auto-tune, like on steroids.
Absolutely.
If you don't know how to sing, if you don't know how to really like rap or sound good rapping, you can actually make yourself sound a little bit better, like using different voice models. It's like actually putting a different character over your voice than just like a robotic auto-tune.
See, the problem is James Cameron weaponized the AI back in the day with Terminator. So
yeah,
that's why we got a bad taste in AI.
It gives us old people a bad taste when we hear artificial intelligence.
It definitely does.
Scary.
Yeah. But I mean, if you think about it, if you split an atom, it gives power to millions. If you split an atom, it kills millions. So it's up to who is using the technology and how they're using the technology. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't. At the end of the day, it's about the people, not the technology.
Oppenheimer's about to come out, and he's about to talk about that in that movie too.
I love that. That's sick, man.
It just put us in a pretzel. It put all of our brains in a pretzel just now because it's endless and it's not limited to the music industry and it's not limited to listen to this fake Weeknd and Drake song. Like that's
very surface level. Yeah,
of course. Yeah. There's use cases for everything too. Yeah, it's just like, okay, let's use a DJ thing for a reference. I remember when Serato came out, the early Serato. I was like, holy shit. I'm going to be able to do the craziest routines. I'm going to be able to scratch this with that. I can have my voice on it. I can do all of this craziest shit. And then guess what? Paris Hilton became a DJ. So it's like technology.
100%.
The technology can exist at the same time. It can make Paris Hilton be a DJ, but it can also make some ill-ass routines that we have all seen happen since the advent of this technology. It's how we use the technology and all the cool shit we can do with it. And that's what I looked at this whole AI voice stuff. It's like, all right, yeah, this is cool and shit. You can make a funny Drake song. You can make Paris Hilton rap Kendrick beats. I don't know, whatever you want to fucking do. But you can also do some really cool shit that's going to change the culture and help the culture and do cool stuff. So that's what we're trying to do at Ruben, is like just really try to like change this culture with this technology.
I'm about to have crazy dub plates.
Yeah.
No, it's wild. It's wild. There's some cool stuff you can do.
when you were graduating from Columbia, what was your outlook for college? Like right after you graduated, you're like, I'm gonna apply myself, and what was your projection for your degree?
Yeah. So I have an interactive multimedia degree. And so I just thought I was going to be doing tech stuff. I thought I was going to be like, it's weird because I probably didn't have like a good self-image at the time, but I always thought I'd just be this dude behind the scenes trying to like help these companies with like design or build apps and do these things. And so that's what I was doing out of college. I just was working at these companies, just doing random tech things. Like the first one I worked at, I was doing like, there's this online cartoon. I was kind of like helping with that, like doing some like digital stuff there. But what had happened was I actually got flown out to LA to play a show as a DJ. Like while I was living in Chicago, while I was doing tech, I got flown out to LA. And I remember I got to my hotel room. I wasn't making any money. They just put me up in a hotel and they let me stay in LA for like 2 days for free. And I remember I looked in the mirror. I'm like, bitch, you're in fucking LA right now. You got flown out here because of your talents. Yeah. And I just like told myself, if I keep focusing on this, I was like, it's funny because again, I had like such a short vision. I was like, yo, if you focus on this, you can travel this whole summer. And I was like, all right, let's go.
You can be in a hotel tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. So I quit my job. I was like, cool, I'm gonna quit my job for the summer. Summer 2006. I'm gonna be just running around. And
That's fire.
And then this September will be 18 years I've been doing this. So
holy shit.
It's been a long summer.
Yeah, it's been a long summer. But yeah, what Phenom, like to your question, bro, it's like, it's funny because I'm trying to get back into the tech more. I'm trying to really like do more of this because this is like where my heart is. And I like it really, to me right now, all of this tech stuff feels like early SoundCloud. There's a website called GitHub, and GitHub is pretty much the tech SoundCloud. It's people that are like coding all these cool things, and you can like go and see what all these people are making. There's people in like China and Japan and all over the world making these really cool like scripts of code, and you can take that little piece of code and then use it in your stuff. And it's like it's almost like a Splice meets SoundCloud, and you can just dig and dig and dig. And there'll be days I'm just digging and finding the coolest stuff on GitHub. And so to me, it feels like that moment when I was like early SoundCloud days, like finding trap, finding Moonbatone, finding all these things and being inspired. That's where I'm at right now. Again, with this technology, it's like, oh, I can do this. I can take this and this and this. And like, and I'm excited to see what this summer is looking like for me. Like, I'm going to quit my DJ job just for the summer, and I'm going to get into this tech shit. And like, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He turns his name to Morpheus.
Yeah.
The guy from Grandma's Boy.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your temperature on NFTs now? Because I know you were way ahead on that. When NFTs dropped, you were one of the first people that was like, yo, this shit right here. And then everyone got a hold of it.
Yeah.
So what's your temperature on that right now?
So my current temperature on that was like so the initial idea like of it was so dope. It was so awesome. But what happened was there was like this gold rush. And what happened in that gold rush is all these people with gold rush mentality went in there and just like fucked that whole shit up. Like they went in and like, yeah, all of that shit. Like they like went in and finessed everyone to like throw in, and then they rugged everyone and took all the money out, and then everyone just left it. So it's like what they were able to do is like instantly get a ton of people's money at once and then just like not fulfill their promises. A lot of people would do these projects like a Bored Ape or whatever, put all of this expectation up that they're going to promise this, never get there, and then just like take everyone's money and leave. So to me, it's like, I don't know. I'm on the fence a little bit with it. Like I'm working with like seriously one of the biggest companies in the world right now that sells stuff that they're trying to do a Web3 NFT thing. So I'm helping them build out their thing, which I think actually has some promise. But a lot of like what happened in the space is just gave people such a bad taste in their mouth that a lot of people have left that. The technology's still dope. I'm still doing cool shit with the technology, but NFTs themselves are definitely are like, no one's really touching that much anymore.
Yeah. Because you did the smokable NFT, the 420 release.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, again, you're outside of the box. You're thinking outside of the box where it's adding to the grand scheme of things. And I saw it as not just profitable, but something that was like, okay, cool. If everyone's rushing to this, I can at least do something that's day specific. I can give you my end of the bargain, and we can keep things moving along.
Yeah. For me, that whole thing was like throwing an event. Like, so like on 420, I actually made one where I sold 420 NFTs for $4.20. So I made it so anyone could get in for super cheap. And then in that one, I used an old technology. called steganography, where you can actually hide text inside of images. So if you visualize the audio, if you put the audio on a visualizer, you can actually see a wallet address to a crypto wallet in the audio. So it's like a waveform of what it is. And then in there's hidden like a wallet. And then the people that found that wallet address, they could go get free NFTs in that.
Mhm.
So what I was saying is like, I made that whole drop like an event. I made it so it was on Clubhouse at the time. If you guys remember that, rest in peace. It was like a spot where people could like talk.
Clubhouse was great. I love
No,
it.
it was a good vibe.
Yeah,
It just fell off because everyone went back to real life.
Yeah.
But on there, it was just more of like an event. And I just looked at it like a DJ event. I was like, all right, how can we have this an experiential thing? You're paying $4.20 for the NFT, but that's kind of like your admission for this whole event, this scavenger hunt, this whole experience. And then part of that was also I dropped that vape that you could actually you could buy a physical vape and you could plug it into your computer and it would actually give you NFTs when you plugged it into your computer too. So it was like this whole thing. But yeah.
I love NFTs, man. Because that person could have resold that for some money. And then,
no one has, man. It's wild. The people that got them are holding them still.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's fucking smart. We had a audience member question about band in Chicago. If you could kind of talk about, I was there. I remember I was.
So this is your question.
No, I mean, it's not. Someone wanted to know.
Oh, yeah.
I was standing in the back. I have pictures on my iPhone 2 of the band night where people were on porta potties.
Yep.
It was a shit show. It was a street festival in Chicago. Kurt, if you could talk a bit about that.
Yeah. So we got banned, but I'll get to that. Yeah, it was. What festival was it? Was it?
It's got to be Westfest, right?
Westfest? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Or Mad Decent Block Party?
No, it was West.
No,
it was one of
okay,
the Chicago ones. Yeah.
Okay,
and we they had us headline, and it was like peak or like early inception of like the trap floss stuff. But we'd already been known in Chicago. Like we had like such a fan base in Chicago. Like hella people came out, and I don't know why, but it was like, I mean, I do know why. It's Chicago. Everyone was super fucking drunk. It was super turned up. People were standing on bus stops, on porta potties, and just moshing, and it just went so crazy. And they shut us down, but they like unplugged the mixer, but didn't unplug the mics. And then we just started like chanting. I think we like started chanting "fuck the police," and then everyone was saying "fuck the police," and then it got like even crazier. And then that ended up somehow getting into like the higher ups. And then we got banned from playing street festivals in Chicago. They wouldn't allow us to play any festivals, any outdoor festivals. Like the city said, Flosstradamus is banned. And so we ended up making like a mixtape series out of that called Banned. And yeah, that was that.
Jordan
it was Chief Keef and Flosstradamus that were banned from Chicago. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That is hilarious.
I remember being backstage because everyone was waiting for you guys. I think it was like chill. It was super chill before then, but there was like it was bubbling. It was like
lineup.
Man,
locals, maybe like bands too. It was like a mix of bands and stuff too. I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like Dinosaur Jr. and stuff like super like chill stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I remember like it was just bubbling like the third day of Woodstock. Where like some shit's gonna happen. Because you could see in the crowd that everyone was there for you guys. And I remember just watching it and looking out and seeing just like kids like jumping on porta potties and shit like that while people were in there for sure. Like there was definitely people like using those, which is
it was
great.
nasty.
And I remember I was pretty fucked up at that point because there was free beer and everything backstage, and somebody I think Mike Ball had a bottle of tequila or something like that, and I was like, man, I should probably try to get a cab before this lets out.
It's a little wild
because I'll never get home. Like I just live here now. Like this is just what happens. But again, like you said, that moment afterwards where you're like, hey, shoot first and then see what happens. You shot your shot with that, bigger than you could have ever projected, by the city coming back at you and being like, yo, fuck these guys. And you're like, awesome. Yes, please, more of that. And then it just went like out of this world.
Yeah.
It was on another planet. So fast forward, right after that, you guys had me on for 2 nights on New Year's Eve with you at Riviera.
Yes.
And that lineup was me, Spins, Virgil, and then you guys. Virgil
Yes.
was playing as Ben Trill.
Mm.
Thank you, because I got to spend 2 nights splitting a green room with Virgil and just talking about everything. I think I was talking about Hall & Oates at one point with him. Something,
so
you know,
sick.
just like everything. But I feel like at that point is when that juggalo kind of mentality was in full effect.
Oh yeah.
Where
You mean cult
Woo
following?
woo.
where it seemed like everyone was on the same page. There was nobody that was there, or like Grateful Dead or something like that. There was no one that was there that was like, I don't know, I'm gonna give this a try. It was everyone was decked out with the logo, and everyone knew exactly what the fuck was going on.
Yeah. I mean, you said it all. I don't even know what else to say to all that. No, but true. No, seriously, it was like, it's funny because getting banned or whatever, getting like authorities involved to like say this is bad is like such like, I don't know, parental 101. When parents are like, don't listen to that, it's bad. Of course, the kids are going to want to listen to it. So having the parental figure that is like the government say that like you shouldn't do this is going to just like reaffirm everyone to want to do it. They want to know even more. It's like, I don't know why people don't in higher up positions and parents and stuff don't realize that that's going to do the opposite. But anyway, it helped. Like you said, it really did. It made it so anyone that had like a rebellious, like angsty mentality, but would want to come to our shows. And at the time we had some of the most like angsty songs too. We had Mosh Pit, we had Prison Riot, we had these like such turned up songs that like it was like a heavy metal energy at this like trap EDM show. And yeah, you're right, people would show up because they knew they're going to get in the mosh pit. They knew it was going to get crazy. They knew that water would be thrown on them, and it was going to be a show too. And that was the other thing, we really tried to provide a show. Another thing that was happening in EDM at the time was like, I mean, it happens now too, but like everyone had these IMAX screens and like these crazy lights and all of this stuff. We were like, no screens. We're just going to put a car on stage. We built like a bomb shelter. We had a few strobe lights and just like, we made it super raw. We kind of tried to do the opposite of what like everyone at EDM was doing. So when you came to a Flosstradamus show, even though it was EDM and music, it didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like EDM. So yeah.
Around what year was this?
I mean, that era was probably 2014. What about Phenom? When do you think it was? 13, 14?
I think it was right 15? Around there. Yeah.
That sounds about right. So I used to bus tables at XS here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So I remember your residency out here. That was like 15. Is that when that happened?
Maybe we did it for 8 years there. So
yeah, you guys were there here for a minute.
Yeah.
And I was working there for most of them, which is kind of wild.
That's awesome.
Man in the crowd.
The funny thing is we did XS and Surrender and all those, but I used to love Intrigue the most because it was like this intimate, like it fit who we were as like DJs. Like we just like wanted this party, we wanted this energy, and like the excesses and things like that were more bottle service, and like we just never clicked with that vibe. Like it wasn't our thing. I don't know why. Like
so XS has 200 tables, at least back when I was there. That's crazy. And Trist came Intrigue was it was 40 tables. So it was much smaller.
Yes, yep. And like the most of the people that were showing up weren't bodily people, I guess. Like,
it was
like
mostly a GA crowd.
Yeah, it was sick.
And the minimums were smaller, so like getting a table was a little bit easier.
That's what we like. We're blue collar dudes, and like I think we brought that like kind of blue collar mentality in ways. Like, of course, bottle service people were there; they enjoyed it. But
of course,
like, it's maybe more music fans and more like cultural fans would like be at the GA type crowd, and yeah, that's why I like that club out of all of them.
How did you feel about doing the Vegas residency versus, the other things?
It's different, that's for sure. Like it was, I had to be more mainstream with like making my edits and stuff. I loved it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I really did. It was a fun experience, especially as a DJ. It's such a challenge. Like Phenom was saying, like people would show up to our shows knowing what the fuck was going on. When you were in Vegas, they didn't. So like you had to kind of like get back to being a DJ again, which I loved. It was like, I did 4 or 5 years of just like curated to my fans. And then when I came back to Vegas, it was like, oh, this isn't easy anymore. You have to like figure out how to work the room. You can't just play big drops. You have to like play, I don't know, a Journey a cappella into some like trap drop or something. Like I had to figure out a way to make it work. The downside of that though, I would say, because I had 8 years there, it actually started to make my set go more like that. Actually, I would start to like my actual DJ set started to become more like there's like a Journey acapella in my floss set and stuff like that. It actually kind of like watered down my floss set, and it's kind of cool. I took. I'm not in Vegas this year. I might be next year. We're like in talks of it, but like this year, I'm starting to like be more into my old trap sound, which is cool. It's like a nice little moment to get back into my soul and who I am. So, yeah, there was goods and bads to Vegas. Vegas literally is a roll of the dice. Like no pun intended or pun intended. Like sometimes it'd be like packed ass club. You're like, oh, it's going to be a poppin' ass night, and it wouldn't be poppin', or like the vice versa. It'd be like an intimate night, but it'd be super lit. So I don't know, man. I could never put a exact like description on it. It was just always a roll of the dice.
It's like playing a wedding, you know. It's like because it's all walks of life, you know. You have the people that flew in from Europe that are like, I've never been to Vegas before, and then there's the people that are from a couple hours away in Los Angeles that are like, oh no, I was at Hard and I'm here to see Flosstradamus. You know, it's like yeah.
That's why it's always interesting to me to get everybody's taste who had residencies at the big clubs out here, because especially guys who are kind of like on different paths and just like very like not the Tiestos or Cascades or whatever, but like guys like you who had, you know, your trap thing and like coming into like a very polished win like sort of scenario and being like, all right, cool, that's cool, you guys got banned in Chicago for this wild block party, but now we're in the win, and you know, like, and people are coming for your sound, you have your fan base. I just always am interested on like what the artists or the DJs feel,
because there's no background that, you know, you couldn't bring the Civic in there, park the Civic, you know, it was all of that. It was like, here we are, we're in the middle of a casino, and this is also Flosstradamus too. This is that same one. You're like, you see them, this is us too.
The first show I saw where I wasn't working with you guys was at Surrender, because I think you guys were playing Surrender first before you started playing Excess and Trist.
Yep.
And so I went to those shows and I was like, oh, this is sick. Like the visuals were dope. Like it was very on brand. It wasn't corny by any means. It looked fucking sick. So I was like, this is such a cool fit and such a like different thing.
No, at first they were like really supportive of us. Like they even like helped us brand it as Floss Vegas.
Yeah.
And, like we were able to do that. We were able to like have like, we made some like custom like Vegas themed like visuals and stuff. Like they really did it. They even had the bottle service girls dressed up and stuff. So they like kind of like helped us like at least make people more accepting of it. And then over time, like that was like peak EDM Vegas. Like there was like money flowing into Vegas at that time. And then over time, like the Vegas money started to go down. And so they would stop spending money on production and stuff. And it just happened like that over time.
Yeah.
At what point do you approach music in saying, hey, I know I've built this massive following with trap music, but I also like this kind of music and that kind of music. And I don't want to alienate you to be like, I don't want to lose the fans, you know, but
I
at
also
the same
want to make
time,
a power ballad.
You're multiversited, you know, just by your roots of your interest in music.
Yeah, man. And that's like the hardest thing for me. Like, I haven't really figured that much out. Like the only way I've been doing it is like getting into this tech stuff. It's like, I can go over here and do this stuff and I can be creative me over here fully and truly. Like I've built such a fan base in my Flosstradamus side that like, I've tried to do other songs. I've tried to do more chill songs and things like that, but the fans don't really gravitate to that as much because a lot of people know us from that Juggalo era, like you said, like that more turned up, whatever era. So, it's cool because I like took a little bit of a break from like making music and stuff, and then now I've gotten back into it and I've been making more of that like heavier trap stuff, and it feels good again, like it feels natural. So for me, it's like that's cool. That's for the Flosstradamus brand. I've got some house songs that I've been doing lately too that I'll probably put on this EP, see how those go, and if those start to go, then I'll put a couple more like houseier tunes under the Floss moniker, but like not as lead singles. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to keep dabbling with it over the years and see what happens, and maybe do like a alter ego type thing or whatever, like another alias type thing. But I don't know. As of right now, I'm just like enjoying doing it with this tech stuff and doing it with my Floss name still. I'm doing this whole thing with Yellow Claw this summer. We're doing like a whole Yellow Claw and I are doing a back-to-back for Hard Summer, and we're playing, hopefully it's a spoiler. Actually, I can't say it. We're playing another big festival, and then we're going to probably do a little tour of shows around that. And so we're working on an EP that's like throwback Floss sound too, and it just feels good to kind of just make that shit again, and like it just like there's no worries, it's just easy and fun. And
I like Yellow Claw's Euro Trash
project. That's dope.
That's
fire.
Yep.
What got you inspired again to get over it? And I'm not sure if it was writer's block or just to kind of spark that interest again. What what were you hearing? What were you listening to where you're like, ooh, this right here, I want to get into Ableton and do this?
It was ayahuasca. That was what it was.
Yeah.
I did ayahuasca
Let's
and it was, I realized that I had like a lot of like heartbreak around my career. And I mean, it was because a lot of shit has happened with my career. And it like, and I just like, I kind of healed a lot of heartbreak in my life, as well as like my passion for music. And it was funny, like after that, I just like got back in front of Ableton again. And it was just like, oh, this feels natural. And like, it was like the weirdest little things were happening when I started working on music again. Like before, I would like, if I was just even transposing a sample, like tuning it, I would doubt myself that it's right. So I'd have to make sure I'd like, there's a tuner there. Okay, it's the right key. Okay. But now, like post that, it's just like, even if I'm like tuning a sample, it's like, oh, this shit just feels good. Like everything feels good. And I'm like, it's back to like feeling music and just enjoying it. And like, that's why I'm here at the Ultra Studio. I'm like working all the time. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I'm going to blame or say ayahuasca, but like, it was just, I got back into like feeling the passion for this again. And before, I'm sure we've all been there in our careers as DJs and stuff. There's times where you just don't want to do it. Like you,
Sure.
and like, it's not like it's a bad thing. It's, I'm sure people listening, even if they have just a normal job, there's times you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to find that passion. And for me, I was able to like kind of get rid of some of the cobwebs with other psychedelics, especially ayahuasca, and just a lot of just personal growth shit I've done aside from those. And like, I could get back into this and it's like, oh, this is fun again. And I'm inspired again. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
You know, we're going to have to talk about the ayahuasca trip. You know, you brought it up. I want to dive into that a little bit more. Costa Rica, or did you fly out somewhere? How did it go?
Joshua Tree.
No, I love how the dude with the headband's asking me about ayahuasca. Yeah, I did it here in California. That's as much as I'm going to say. I'm not going to dox them, but yeah, I did it here in Cali. I didn't fly away. And yeah, it was full on with the shaman and a group of people. And it was pretty legit to the roots of what it can be. And I did it 2 nights and I was kind of let down oddly, because like all of my friends are like, I was hanging out with my grandparents and we were like doing this and all this stuff when they go there. And like, for me, there wasn't much visual. There wasn't much like trippy, crazy, like ancestral trauma and stuff like that. But it was just, there was a knowing, if that makes sense. Like I was able to like, a lot of the things I think about logically, and like, I'm going to just make this up as a for instance, but like sometimes we're like, yo, I should quit drinking. You tell yourself you're going to quit drinking and you might think about it logically or whatever. And then you do it and then you're good. But like, for me, this was like, I should quit drinking. And I was just like, you just know, you're like, yeah, I'm going to quit drinking. And you're just like, so confident that you can just stop drinking. Like for me, it was like everything I thought, I just felt it in my heart. I was audibly saying out loud, like, oh, and like, so many things were happening that were just like logically, the logical brain was coming into my heart. I was able to like hear it through my heart, I guess. And yeah, I just healed a bunch of like bullshit that has just been looming in my life for way too fucking long, and put it in my rear view, and I got to move forward. So
it's awesome.
Shout out psychedelic therapy in general. I will endorse that. Whether you go extremes to ayahuasca or light as shrooms or whatever, like it's just a good way to gain a different perspective on your life. Like shout that out.
We all do shrooms here. I mean, Nick and I don't drink. I'm almost 4 years without booze, and Travis barely drinks, but I feel like there is such a emotional benefit to microdosing and
100%.
to tapping into that and just, you know, for wellness, for feeling better. You know, we've all talked about that.
I actually have a company called Smile. It's SMLE. So if you go to Instagram, smle.more. You can't really see it here. The light's all weird. Smile,
there it is.
So smile.more. If you're into microdosing, there's more information on the Instagram. That's all I'll say. But yeah, this is a little company I started during the pandemic. We got pills, gummies, and an aerosol spray. If you're trying to explore that world.
Man. Absolutely. Yeah. Trav, what were you gonna say?
I mean, you know me, I'm up in Portland, so you know I'm all about tapping into a higher power up here, man.
The funny thing is, you said tap in Portland. I bet it's in the tap water up there.
A little juju,
like a little DMT in the water.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to go through a quick little lightning round with you. We love when we have a guest that knows all genres of music. This is just going to be a this or that for you. We're going to breeze through pretty quick. One artist you keep, the other you delete out of your Serato, you delete out of existence. You're never going to hear them ever again. Starting with, let's go White Stripes or UGK?
White Stripes. But delete. Wait, who do I say delete? Say both?
You stay the one you're going to keep.
Okay, keep. I'm gonna keep UGK.
Okay.
Hypnotize minds or swish a house.
Oh fuck. Oh, bro, why you gotta do this?
You were
I'm
too
just
quick
gonna-
on the first one.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
like,
gonna say it for my soul, for my cult, for who I like am. I'm gonna say hypnotize mind stays. That's a
Okay.
stay. Yeah.
okay. Paul Wall or Mike Jones?
Ooh, who? I'm gonna say Paul Wall's keep Paul Wall.
Okay. ASAP Rocky or Tyler the Creator?
Keep Tyler.
Okay. Limp Bizkit or Corn?
Keep Corn.
Okay. Ashanti or Sierra?
Keep Sierra.
Ray Shremmerd or T.I.?
Keep Ray Shram.
Okay. Roots or NERD?
Keep NERD.
Okay. Tribe Called Quest or Far Side?
Oh my God, why do you got to put those two together? I'm gonna do this for my boy PT. I'm gonna keep Tribe Called Quest.
Okay. Okay. Prince or Michael Jackson?
I'm gonna keep Prince. Freaky
Okay.
genius.
Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston?
Keep Mariah.
Last but not least, Outkast or Hall & Oates?
Outcast.
Okay, that was
Keep 'em.
easy.
Yeah, all day.
Hall & Oates out of here so quick.
You can say Outcast against any of those people. I'd keep them. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me pass it to Neek.
So what we do around these parts is we like to set our friends up with fast food endorsement meals, a la our friend Bad Bunny. What is the go-to fast food meal? Where is it? Describe the Flosstradamus
A
meal.
flossy meal.
Ooh, what's that? What is considered fast food? Does it have to be like corporate, or it can just be like
It
bad?
has to be corporate. It can
Okay.
be regional, but it can't be local.
Okay. She.
Comes with a side of smile. You get a little bag.
Yeah, a little shroomy smile.
Yeah.
Can it still exist? Can it be one
It
that
doesn't
exist?
necessarily have to exist. You can get something that's
Okay,
close.
so there was this one when I grew up called Rax, and it's a Midwestern thing, and it was kind of like halfway between Wendy's and it was halfway between Arby's,
Oh,
and it was. So I don't know if you guys were in the era of your region had the Wendy's with the super bar. There's like a salad bar in it.
yep.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
so Rax had the salad bar, and they would do the thing where they'd cut the buns and make them garlic bread. So and it was
Come
crazy.
on, man.
Come on,
They were
man.
trifling.
No, like, it's a little crispy, but it's
Yeah,
garlic
no,
bread,
it was
you
good.
know?
They put some garlic butter on it and cooked it on the high top. It's all good.
Said
So
it was
Tastes
fire.
like 3-day-old bread. You're like,
it
exactly.
it was like it was almost a crouton. It was a borderline crouton. So so I'm gonna shout out Rex because it was like halfway between our Arby's. They had roast beef and things like that, but they also had like chicken sandwiches and stuff. But they had the super bar like Wendy's. It was like kind of all of them in one. So I'm gonna shout out Rex.
All
And
right.
I'm gonna
Give
say
me the
them.
meal though. We gotta have top down drink combo.
Okay,
What are we doing?
so I'm gonna do
Garlic
the roast
bread.
beef. I'm gonna do the I'm gonna do actually check this out. I'm gonna order one of the roast beef sandwiches. They had the curly fries like Arby's, so I'm gonna get the curly fries. They had this thing called a chocolate chip shake that was just a shake where they blended it and they put like that shell hardening stuff in it. So like as they're making it, it would make like chocolate chips in it.
That's kind of fire.
That's
Yo, so-
fire.
Yeah,
I would have that, and then I would definitely get the super bar edition. I would go to the super bar and I get the nachos because they had the nacho cheese on deck with the film across the top. You had to crack the creme brulee of the cheese to get the cheese, and then I put that on the nachos. I get the garlic bread on the side. I get the iceberg lettuce that's a little ashy and like wilted. I get that, and then I would get.
Why did
what
this
else?
place not stick around? I can't
Right.
find any reason
Yo,
why.
I honestly think there's one left, and it's in like Joliet or like Joliet.
Oh, shout
That
out.
is so funny.
On
And
the way
then
back.
the last thing I would get to be the pairing of that would be a side of Tums because it would fuck my whole shit up. So
We need
that's
to
why-
know, and we need to know the drink as well.
It would be the chocolate chip
Oh, it's the
shake.
shake.
Oh,
That's
that's
right.
But if we're gonna add another drink, they had like orange high C, like the orange
Oh.
high C.
Oh
But
yeah.
because I had it when I was a kid, they would serve it in a little alligator cup. So I would get it in the gator cup.
Oh,
just
fire,
'cause-
fire.
Yes.
Yep.
Yo,
That's my Rax meal.
that is so funny.
That's a fire meal.
It's spelled RAX, like facts.
Rax.
Like,
I love it.
Racks on
Tracks
racks,
records, but
racks on
no
racks
T.
on racks. Yeah.
Racks on racks.
Colin, the Wendy's on Charleston, that's
Yeah.
probably the oldest Wendy's in Las Vegas. That one used to have the salad bar.
They used to have the
It
salad
still
bar.
has the big sun room.
Yeah.
It's the
With
sun,
curved
dude.
roofs.
Yo, you know what I'm
Yes.
talking?
Yeah.
Dude, there's a
Yeah.
house
Yeah.
by my house that has that. I'm like, you guys got the Wendy's salad bar.
You got the
room.
Wendy's salad bar room.
How?
Someone could just move into a vacant Wendy's and be totally fine. They're
Yo,
like,
I
would
"I
do
live
that."
here. I just live here.
Oh, with the brown bricks.
Oh yeah,
God.
yes, yep. The brown
Yo,
bricks,
yeah.
The
yes.
chili. Oh,
Wendy's
my
was
God.
an architectural masterpiece.
It was.
Yo, fuck. I found this incredible picture the other day when I was doing a deep dive, and I'm gonna pull my Nardwar moment right now.
Oh
Look
my
at this
god,
gentleman right here.
Oh my
Look
god.
at this throwback. I want to
I didn't
talk.
expect it.
I want to talk petty cash. I want to talk Chicago mopeds. I want to talk that era too before we send you on your way. You
Yeah,
had a moped shop. You were
Yeah.
fixing mopeds. You were flipping them. Tell us about that.
yeah. So that was my hustle. So like, I was during school and a little bit out of college as well. So like, we used to go to the suburbs of Chicago and buy mopeds. So we'd find them on Craigslist, buy them for like $75, fix them up, make them run, whatever, polish them up, and then sell them for like 500 or more. And so like I started a gang is very arguable. A group of people. I called it Petty Cash. It was just like me and a bunch of people. Hollywood Holt, Mano, they were part of that crew. They ended up starting like a sub gang called Murder Club outside of Petty Cash, and that was like all of like Hollywood Holt, like Cool Kids, all of them. And so we had like these like squads of just mopeds in Chicago, and it was all started from my Petty Cash gang. Like we used to buy them, fix them. I sold Hollywood Holt his first moped, and then he ended up getting better ones. And then Petty Cash, my company, like I started kind of the DJ stuff started taking off, so I couldn't do that much. And then my best friend Pat ended up like doing it, and he started a thing called Warbucks, which is like the new version of Petty Cash. And they had in where Congress Theater is, they actually had a storefront right there called Warbucks, and they were selling vintage mopeds and new ones as well. And then that was kind of where it all started.
Dude, you have so many side quests of like Curt could have just been a moped guy forever.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's got the storefront, he's just a moped guy.
Yeah,
like,
he could be. Yeah, or he could have been Morpheus.
Yeah. Or
Maybe
just
I
a
am.
mushroom
That's-
guy, you know?
that's what it
like
is. Yeah.
it's fucking incredible. And I think nowadays you kind of have to do it all.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
like outside of even being DJ, you know, you're a promoter, you know, you are also a producer. There's no like your social media management now, you know, like there's no just one angle for your career. I think that time has also come and passed too.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing as well is like technology is getting better and better. And as scary as it is with this AI stuff, there's like so many tools that are making this easier and easier and easier for us. So it's like you can be a promoter, you can be all these things because there's like AI assisting in that too.
Yeah.
But like you can actually do a lot more, wear many hats now. Like a lot of people that I went to school designing, and it was so hard to do like certain things with design now, but now I can just like go to this website called Canva and click 2 things and make a dope ass. I can edit a video in Instagram that's like better than some shit I could do on my computer like 3 years ago. So it's like the technology is getting better and better, so we can wear all these different hats.
It's fun between
Speaking
that
of
and
editing
ChatGPT,
videos,
yeah.
we are developing our DJ biopic cinematic universe, kind of like the MCU. Speaking of MCU, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is out, and it's amazing. I cried my black ass off.
Bitch.
Man, it was great. Great movie. So
What's it called? Guardians what?
Guardians of the Galaxy 3, my guy. I'll say it again. I'll say it 3 times.
We'll send you the whole thing.
Who?
I'm gonna check it out.
Man, you need to see it. You need to see it. So speaking of our DJ biopic cinematic universe, who is playing Flosstradamus? And it could be anybody within the entertainment realm, dead or alive.
Oof. People said that Sean Penn looks like me sometimes, so maybe that.
Coley?
I
Okay.
don't know who else would play me. Maybe I should pick someone handsome. I'm just gonna say Brad Pitt, just because.
Let's go.
Even though it's not
Let's
true,
rock.
it wouldn't really line up. But I'll just say it.
Brad Pitt is in the MCU also as Invisible Man.
Oh,
Yeah, he died in Deadpool 2, and they're going to bring him back for Deadpool 3. Shout
Okay.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then I can't use him. They would be like,
No,
No,
that's
you can
fine. It's a
definitely use
different
it.
universe.
No,
We're fine.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
different
He's good.
universe.
I mean,
Alright.
Bird Peterson picked Denzel Washington, so you're good. Run it.
Yeah,
run
he
it,
picked
whatever.
Denzel
You're
and
fine,
Idris
man.
Elba.
Idris Elba. Idris Elba.
Yeah, Bird.
I thought he
yeah,
picked both of
Bird
them.
was. I don't know. Bird.
I think Bird just wanted to be
Two
black.
very handsome black men for playing Bird Peterson.
Two beautiful men.
It's,
Yeah,
it's pretty close.
yeah.
They're the most ginger black people I know, so it'd work out perfect. I don't know.
Oh man, Curt, we appreciate you talking with us,
Oh,
man.
Spotify.
Thank you for taking the time.
Colin.
Yes. Before we roll out, two questions left, and then we will send you on your way, sir. One song that needs to be on the 5 on 5 podcast playlist. It can be any song you want to add.
Ooh, I'm gonna say it can be anything. It can just be like some old school shit. It can be whatever.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna do, just because I said it earlier and it's wild and they influenced me. I'm gonna say Basement Jaxx, Where's Your Head At? We're just gonna throw it on there just for the
Nice.
throwback.
Yeah.
Why
Hell
not?
yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
Trav,
Like
you can
that.
find that easy.
I got
That's
it.
No problem.
yeah, we'll keep an easy one on it, but just
Last-
something.
Last but not least, one piece of advice or whatever, if you want to go on a tangent, for upcoming DJs and producers, something that people need to know.
Just be you, be unique. If you see people doing something, do the opposite. So always turn the other way and do something different, or like take what people are doing and then put your own twist on it. So I guess that's like three things, but it's kind of like just look at things different. That's all you got to do. Like
Yeah.
if people are hating, then there's probably a reason to look at that and do something with it and flip it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Hell yeah.
so I will ask before we write out what is on the horizon musically, because I know everyone wants to know when's New Floss.
Yeah.
Well, you
So-
just dropped something too.
Yeah, I did. I dropped a song last on 420
Yep.
called Oh Lord. Next month, I've got one coming out. I'm actually dropping something every month, which is cool. So next month, I got one coming out called Side to Side. It's kind of like a throwback rave festival anthem, big joint. And then the month after that, I'm doing one with this dude, Heritage.
Oh,
And
Heritage
then-
is sick. Yo, oh my
Yeah.
God. I play
Yeah.
Movement all the time.
Oh, his shit's great. He's
Oh
so
my
good.
God.
He's so good. He's known to be in like the dubstep world, but he makes the most swaggy shit. So like he's
Swaggy shit.
yeah.
I play it with like
Yeah.
in my Jersey set. So
yeah, man. He's
Yeah.
it's so dope. So
oh, fire.
yeah, him and I cooked up like 5 songs during the pandemic, and
Hell
we're
yeah.
finally putting one of them out. So that's happening. And then yeah, we got the Yellow Claw Floss EP coming up soon, which is another little thing, and a bunch of new music. Like I said, I'm here cranking a bunch of these things out, finishing up a bunch of music. You're probably going to hear a house song before the summer's over from Floss too. So keep an ear out for all of that.
So dope. I'm here for that Yellow Claw and Floss tour, man. Like, bring that through Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Please
yeah,
not
we'll-
a mega
I'll
club.
fly down
Please don't
for
put
that.
it in a
Will
bottle
we be
service
seeing you guys
club.
at the end of the month here in Vegas?
I'll be there. Yeah.
No, I would like to do that because the cool thing is we both don't have residencies this year, so we can do another club there.
Mm.
So I don't know, like Meow Wolf. I don't know what we should do. You guys would know the spot to bring that. I don't know. You know the local spots. I only do the clubs there. So
I think that's a perfect spot. And there's
It was
Yeah.
Area 15, man.
oh yeah.
no,
Yeah.
there's that place. A more smaller, cool spot downtown. would be
Disco
cool.
Pussy would be good. Like something like that. Like, man.
Ooh, Disco Pussy would be dope.
Disco Pussy would be
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Kurt, we really appreciate you taking
Thank
the
you so
time.
much.
No,
man.
thank you
Really
guys. This is a
much
vibe.
It's
Seriously,
great to catch
good
up with
energy.
you. And, I want to give you your flowers before you take off
Mhm.
as being multifaceted. And on top of that, really creating a lane for us. I know me, Nick, and Travis will all agree.
Yes.
People that weren't just committed to just trap or just EDM or just house or just that.
Or just
you
hip
kind of
hop.
put us in this category where we could all enjoy this melting pot of music. And I think that really opened up a lot of doors from then on out
Mhm.
where people can just be themselves now and be like, yo, it is open format. We love all this shit. Like,
Yeah.
we're not just limited to, I only play techno from Germany. It's like, no, we do all that shit. So thank you,
Yeah.
man. We wanted to
Appreciate
give
you
you
guys.
flowers.
Yeah, man.
Gentlemen, unless we have anything else,
I ain't got none.
Neat. All right, that's it. Kurt, nothing else? That's it. We will see y'all next week with another special guest. Until then, peace.